Have you ever felt like your focus is just gone? Like your motivation just packed its bags and left? You sit down wanting to get something done, and the next thing you know, hours have disappeared into this black hole of mindless scrolling. Well, you are definitely not alone. And the good news is, there's a real science-backed way to take back control. So let's get into it.
This quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We're living in a world that is literally engineered to grab our attention. Every single app, every ad, every algorithm, it's all designed to give you a tiny little hit of pleasure, which is then immediately followed by this emptiness that just leaves you wanting more. It's a maze, and there are entire industries making trillions of dollars by keeping us lost inside it. And what does that actually look like? Well, how about this number? 1,095 hours. That's how much time studies show the average person spends on their smartphone every single year. That's more than 45 full days of your life just gone. I mean, the scale of this is just staggering. But thankfully, there is a way to reclaim that time and get your energy back.
All right, so to escape this trap, we first have to understand exactly how it works. So let's break down the brain chemistry that these systems are built from the ground up to exploit.
Okay, so here's a huge misconception. We always hear about dopamine as the pleasure molecule, right? But it's way more accurate to call it the molecule of more. It's the chemical of wanting something, of being in pursuit. Just think about it. That first lick of an ice cream cone. It's amazing, but by the 10th lick, your brain is already kind of bored and looking for the next new thing. It's the novelty, the newness that really triggers that big dopamine rush.
And that is the trap. Things like social media feeds, video games, news alerts, they are engineered to be a bottomless pit of novelty. There is always one more post to see, one more video to watch, one more notification to check. This keeps your brain locked in that constant state of pursuit, which not only torches your time, but it also makes real life, reading a book, having a conversation with a friend, feel dull and boring by comparison. So you've probably heard about this trendy solution called dopamine fasting. It kind of blew up a few years ago. But what if I told you that the popular idea of what it is almost completely wrong?
Okay, so on one hand, you have the myth. The myth is that you need to become some kind of monk and just starve your brain of all pleasure to reset it. That's not just wrong, it's literally impossible. You need dopamine just to function. But the reality is so much smarter. It's not about getting rid of the chemical. It's about reducing the compulsive behaviors that hijack your dopamine system in the first place.
This is what we're actually talking about. Dr. Cameron Sepah, he actually coined the term dopamine fasting 2.0 to make this super clear. It's an evidence-based practice taken straight from the playbook of cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. And CBT is a gold standard technique that therapists use to help people change negative thought patterns and behaviors. So this isn't some fad, it's a real therapeutic tool.
So how do we actually put this into practice? Well, the solution really has two parts. The first part is all about your defense. It's about learning how to manage those unhealthy impulses that are constantly trying to grab your attention.
The very first step is to identify the specific behaviors that are actually causing the problem for you. Dr. Sepah lays out these 6 common categories. And you got to be honest with yourself here. For a lot of us, internet and gaming is probably the big one. But just take a second and see which of these might be draining your focus and your motivation.
Okay, so once you know the behavior, what do you do when that urge strikes? You use a really cool CBT technique called urge surfing. So, let's say you get that urge to check your phone. Instead of just grabbing it, you just pause. Notice the feeling. Maybe it's a tension in your hands or a restless feeling in your chest. You just observe it mindfully, like watching a wave rise and then fall without letting it pull you under. And what you'll find is that the urge actually loses its power and fades all on its own. It is a super powerful defensive move. But look, a good defense isn't enough to win the game, right? You also need a good offense. It's not enough to just resist bad habits. You have to proactively build a healthy foundation for your motivation and your drive. So let's see what that looks like.
Oh, I love this metaphor from the neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman. Think of your dopamine system like a wave pool at a water park. If the water level is super low, you can't make any waves, right? It's impossible. Well, those big, exciting peaks of motivation are just like that. They're impossible if your baseline is totally depleted. So your offense is all about raising the water level in that pool.
And this is the key concept for your offense, your baseline dopamine. This isn't about those frantic, cheap peaks you get from scrolling. This is the steady, underlying level of dopamine that gives you your day-to-day drive, your ability to actually go after goals that matter. When your baseline is high, you just have the energy to get things done.
When it's low, everything feels like an uphill battle.
So how do you raise that baseline? Dr. Huberman lays out 5 foundational, totally zero-cost practices. Quality sleep, it literally restores your dopamine reserves while you rest. NSDR, or non-sleep deep rest, and this can be something as simple as a guided meditation, has been shown to significantly boost them. Proper nutrition gives your body the building blocks it needs. Getting sunlight in your eyes in the morning triggers a cascade of healthy hormones. And of course, regular exercise helps maintain an elevated baseline. These are basically your non-negotiables for a motivated mind.
Okay, so we've got our defensive strategy from CBT, and we've got our offensive strategy for building our baseline. Now, let's put it all together into one simple, actionable plan. The key takeaway is that you absolutely need both. They're two sides of the same coin. Your defense, using techniques like urge surfing, helps you stop draining your dopamine on all those cheap, impulsive behaviors, and your offense, with those 5 foundational habits, actively refills your tank, raising your baseline so you actually have the motivation for what truly matters. They work together perfectly.
And what does the fasting part actually look like in real life? Well, here are some flexible guidelines to start with. You can start by just scheduling time away from your specific impulsive behavior. Maybe that's putting your phone away for 1 to 4 hours every evening. Then maybe you try 1 full day a week. The idea is to start small and find a rhythm that works for you. This isn't some rigid all-or-nothing rule book. It's a template for you to start regaining your time and rediscovering what actually makes you feel good.
Ultimately, it really all comes down to this. Every app, every platform, every advertiser out there, they have a plan for your attention. They are actively working right now to direct your focus for their own gain. So now that you've seen how the whole system works and the tools you can use to fight back, the only question left is, what's your plan?